Narok has ever since been recognized as a place rich in cultural heritage and magical sceneries. But the vital status quo of this land has also been in the balance after years of cynical conflicts and ethnic flare-ups.
Clashes today left a trail of destruction and many injured victims.
That has left behind a trail of destruction and solitude.
Na kakatakatwa mtoto kichwa na uso. Hata nyanya alikatakatwa uso. Naona kama hakuna macho.
After nearly 3 decades and many casualties, the conflicts, hatred, and tensions rage on. What long-term consequences has the conflicts and controversial decisions made by the government had?
We will do our work without fear or favor, and we will act as we are expected to according to the law.
Have the metrics put in place by authorities further deepened the divide between the Maasais and Kalenjins, or have they ultimately brought them closer?
This community cannot die when you're still alive.
Africa Uncensored investigates the roots of deadly disputes in Narok. The reality of these elegant landscapes is far worse than anyone can suspect. Stuck in the Mau Forest complex and a 3-hour drive away from Narok town, these vast fields could at any moment turn into potential battlegrounds between communities. In the span of nearly 3 decades, these lands have experienced unusual conflicts as well as a symbol of Narok's land crisis.
There are some drivers, conflict drivers around in this area. One of them is the negative ethnicity.
Naipanoi is a local chief and is relatively unfazed by the uproar surrounding the cynical conflicts between the Maasai and Kalenjin communities.
The natural resources that are here, we have the Mau Forest, and this forest is in Nakuru County, although people of Entiani location borders the forest, and they use it to graze their animals inside that forest. Or from the other side, the Kalenjins also use the same forest to graze, and even they do the shamba system. Don't even understand why they fight, because the water is enough, the grass is enough, but you see, they still fight. You see, that water doesn't get finished. Even when it is drunk by 100 or 1 million cows, it is never finished.
In this region, almost everyone has an enemy. The main problem is one of survival. It is hard to establish where justice can be found in Mau Forest Complex. Both the Maasais and Kalenjins have equal claims of sovereignty over the land. It is not clear who is doing it right and who is doing wrong. And the government's message to the perpetrators is very clear.
We have actually moved additional troops and additional security personnel to the Mau. And the instructions to the security personnel there are as follows. They act decisively and firmly without fear or favor.
Negative ethnicity and political lines have immensely played in the conflicts.
We are aware that wherever politicians get root in a conflict area, they will maybe inflame or radicalize their communities against each other.
The Maasais have in the past staged protests following the issues on lands. They see it as a move to evict them from their rightful heritage.
Sahi wanaendelea kuchoma nyumba yetu huko. Serikali wanasema hapa tunyamaze na ndio ona hii manyumba inachomwa hapa sasa tufanye nini?
So this has brought some reflection on the local Maasais that maybe the numbers when it comes to political competition, there is not upon them to decide. The other communities provide swing votes. They have huge voting blocks. So this is at the center of the political competition. This precipitates a sense of a loss to to the local Maasais who feel it's their traditional land, it's their ancestral land, and all of a sudden, due to politics of numbers, they are not in control of their political destiny and the political direction. So this breeds ethnic resentments. Also amongst the Kalenjin, they feel we bought land, we are Kenyans, we are entitled to property, we are also entitled to political suffrage and leaders of our own choice, and we are entitled to use our numbers to get our own leaders.
I came across something that snapped my mind to attention. According to Naipanoi, these conflicts in Narok usually have a pattern to it.
Conflict spreads very fast, and it has usually been like a trend. When it starts in Transmara or Pusmoru, then here. The allegation is we had a politician talking in radio or TV. I believe as much as we say that some politicians have an ant in that, also people have that mentality that it has started in Transmara or Narok South, we also start. So they just start, and they start over you just go and steal a cow, one, then you light up everything.
I traveled to Transmara West. I'm here to meet a local who recently lost his son in the border conflict between the Ero Uasin Gishu and Ero Syria clans. The old man is from Ero Uasin Gishu clan.
Jamii ya Uasin Gishu kutoka. Hawezi kumbuka mwaka, lakini kikumbuka hii wakati hii kijana naenda, labda leo ni mwaka 5 maine ni hapo ni 4.
And he also knows without a reasonable doubt what is ailing his land.
Kitu alilete hii maneno ni ardhi. Kwa hiyo miaka yote. Ingine ya mbele ilikuwa ni wizi, lakini yote na watu.
Chanzo hasa vita hii ina historia yake ya muda mrefu, na hasa chanzo cha vita ni mzozo wa ardhi wa hiyo koo mbili ya Wasiria na Uasin Gishu. Hasa huwa wanasosana umiliki wa ardhi. Kwa hivyo tunaweza kusema ya kwamba hii shida la ardhi katika eneo hili ni zaidi ya miaka 30. Mambo ya ugawaji wa ardhi iliingia mwaka kama huku kwetu pamoja na Ngararo ilianza mambo ya demarcation na ugawaji wa ardhi kugawia watu. Maana hii ardhi ni ardhi ya binafsi, ile inaitwa section, sio group ranch. Sasa ilianza mwaka 80, mwaka 1990, yani mwaka 1985. Kuna mipaka ambayo ziliwekwa na serikali pamoja na wasee ambayo zilikuwa ni sa declaration kuonyesha ya kwamba mtu wowote ambaye anapatikana katika ndani ya ile mipaka ya declaration anastahili kugawia shamba katika section hiyo. Mtu wowote awe Mziria awe Uasin Gishu.
The demarcated land is the most visible symbol of division. The government built it as a barrier indicating a clear-cut boundary between the two communities.
Sasa huyo unakuja kata hata hajabitisa hiyo mpaka mali ilikuwa mawe iko hapana. Alibitisa tu nje ya Uasin Gishu mpaka.
Inakuwa kwamba hata machief pamoja na wazee hawana nafasi, maana itakuwa ni mfuto mkubwa ambaye inataka ni baina ya jamii. Sasa wale upande, kila jamii inafuta upande wake. Hata serikali sisi kama wazee wa mitaa tukijaribu kuingilia inakuwa ni kwamba ni kasi ngumu, maana haikubainishwa mpaka alisi. Inaonyesha kwamba wakati ambao ulikuwa hiyo demarcation inafanyika hapo ilikuwa ni mahali ambao watu jamii moja inaishi mbali na nyingine, ambapo sasa inaleta utatanishi kwa kuonyesha mpaka, lakini serikali yenyewe ilikuwa imeshaweka na iko na kila kitu ambayo inastahili kuonyesha hapa ndio ilikuwa section fulani inafikia na hapa ndio inagawana na nyingine.
A confusion in the division of land in the past has become a problem which the two communities are grappling with to the present day. As a researcher, where do you think we might be getting it wrong in terms of addressing these conflicts?
I don't think we are getting it wrong in terms of addressing this conflict, given the extent of the animosity that has existed over the years. We need to up our game. The area where we need to do better is in terms of community engagement aspect. I tend to think that it's quite minimal. We address these issues as they arise with the same velocity.
A further venture into this land revealed a fresh detail recently brought about by these conflicts. Margaret has lost 2 houses to fire caused by unknown assailants, with the latest house going down in January 2021. As of yet, she has no place to call her home and lives with her mother together with her 3 children. For a long time, she has opted for stability, but for now she continues being trapped in this cycle of ethnic flare-ups.
Mara ya pili, nyumba mbili, jikoni na nyumba mabati. Sikutoa chochote hata, sijaokoa chochote. Hiyo ni mwaka 2020, Disemba. Sasa hiyo ndio shida ilitokea. Sasa hiyo nyumba mbili ikaungua tu hivyo. Sijaokoa chochote. Alafu mara ya pili ni hivyo sasa. Hao watu walikuja tu saa kama saa 7 hivi. Nilikuwa na watoto 3. Mmoja ya mwisho ni ya mwaka mmoja. Sasa hiyo nyumba ilichomwa saa 7 ya usiku. Nilikuwa ndani na watoto, hiyo watoto wangu 3. Nilituka tu, nikatoka, nikapika kelele, nikalia. Mama akakuja akanifungulia. Wakati alinifungulia hata mtoto alikuwa mgonjwa huyu mdogo. Nikatoka tu hivyo. Tukakaa tu hivyo mpaka saa hii.
Naam. Ulikuwa na mzozano na mtu yoyote? Kabla kisa hichi kutokea?
Hii ni vita tu. Nililete hiyo.
And it doesn't stop at Margaret's house alone. This 10 hectare of sugarcane plantation was recently razed down by individuals from a rival clan, claiming the owner wasn't one of their own. Scenes like this, and this are fueling demands for more security in this region.
The Maasais brought this head. They hid it somewhere, and the body was taken by police. So I was told I must make sure that the head is brought back to Mauche, so that it can be buried with the body. As the area chief, because they believe that it is my people who have the head. Here, this is the forest now where the head was. They brought this head and hung it here.
Yes.
And then, after hanging the head here, they wrote a note and dropped it at the police station.
Yes.
I'm looking at it from a perspective of 2 communities that are misbehaving over the years because the problems that they have in between themselves have not been adequately addressed in the manner which they should address. From the community level to the state level, people do not just wake up and start killing each other. People could fight over simple resources like water, scarcity of water, scarcity of pasture.
But the grim statistics about the deaths gets painted clear to me with this latest incident.
Alitokea tujue, alienda msini ufita. Akatokea tu hivyo, kaenda tukuliwa huko. Hivyo tu.
25-year-old Nadutari Rotiken is still in a tough and very emotional state. She became widowed in the 2019 conflicts.
Alitoka tu kwa vizuri nyumbani, sio akatoka tu poa, akarudi. Tukasikia kesho yake akasikia tu ameugua, so niko tu.
Vita naye sio vizuri, sio mema, inaleta hasara. Si unaona tayari imeleta hasara.
Ya kweli.
Sasa huyu atajenga nyumba upya na hawezi jenga sababu aliambiwa no. Na serikali. Kwamba mtu yuko pande hii hakuna kitu unafanya, unakaa tu. Si unaona hiyo? Sasa kama mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa naomba serikali afanye hii kitu haraka, asaidie watu ndio watu wapate kufanya nini? Kuendelesha kwa maisha.
In recent times, some of the people involved in the conflicts have decided to lay down their arms. Amongst them are young and not so young victims of a conflict. They've known only conflict since their childhood.
Amechomwa, hakuna mahali ya kuishi, shamba mahindi amefyekwa, hakuna kitu tunafanya. Wala ameanza vita huko. Tokea huko.
I've also found that there's a challenge with the parental responsibility. These young men who are fighting, I think the parents are not playing a major role to instill some values.
If a group raids and then as a father you tell your sons that it's a matter of time and I'll send you over to raid their cattle, you are propagating animosity, criminal activities. They are instilling that sense of vengeance over to the next generation.
The Mau forest, it was during the past years, it was a very thick and beautiful forest. Because of the encroachment and illegal logging and so, it is getting finished. And some people, they believe that, especially the Maasai and the Okiek, they believe that naturally they are supposed to look after the environment and ensure that the trees remain. On the other hand, other people clear the same to get money, to get charcoal, to get firewood. So you see that conflict.
I wanted to see for myself how this conflict between the Maasai and Kalenjin communities is threatening the existence of Mau forest. Naipanoi agrees to take me inside the Longoman forest, which is a part of the Mau forest.
So this is illegal logging, and this is a forest that is managed by the Kenya Forest Service.
Yes.
How do you think they gain access into these places?
You know, I don't blame them 100% because I work with them. We usually work as a multi-agency team.
Yeah.
This is a very big forest, and the officers who are in charge of this forest are very few. So you find that when he's managing this other part, someone is cutting a tree here. They are supposed to be at least more than even 10 or 20. Yeah, but right now there are 2.
Only 2.
Yes, officers in that station.
Officers.
In that station.
To manage how many acres approximately of land?
I think almost 60 acres. This area kidogo tu, almost 60, even 100, between 60 to 100.
There is, without any trace of doubt, an immense destruction in the Ufing.
So if they are not protected, this is Itaisha, this type of trees.
She tells me which kinds of trees are the most vulnerable at the face of such damages.
Pondo and red cedar are at high risk of being depleted. This is a red cedar. I think it is just a seed that fell and started growing, and it will take so many years to grow to the size of this tree. Very many rivers originate from this forest. When this forest is not there, those rivers will not flow to Lake Nakuru.
Yes.
And the other lakes. Lives of animals and people will be at risk.
I leave the Mau Forest Complex wondering whether Naipanoi's dream of uniting her people could ever become a reality. Strong-willed women like her may play a big role in ending these ethnic flare-ups. Perhaps the way forward lies less in government ultimatums and more in small steps towards reconciliation on the ground. And also, perhaps on the younger generation in Narok.